of course, Dr. West announced his presidential campaign for 2024 a couple weeks ago now, and really baffled and confounded us all when he announced that he'd be running with the People's Party, which of course is scandal ridden, completely dysfunctional, lacking ballot access basically in all states but a couple, no organizational infrastructure necessary in order to propel this campaign into any sort of success whatsoever. And again, by success, I don't mean winning the presidency necessarily. I mean being on the ballot and potentially getting to 5%, which is, of course, what third parties like the Greens need to get matching funds from the government. So, we were all very confused, obviously, as to why Cornel West would go about this and what seemed to be the dumbest way possible, quite frankly, attaching himself to a very tarnished, an organization which reputation is incredibly tarnished. It seemed like an odd group of grifters to give legitimacy to if you're someone as respected and credible as Cornel West. And a lot of us were wondering, why the heck didn't you declare as a Green Party candidate, which despite its problems as an organization, Zach and I have been critical of the Green Party before, despite our issues with it and despite some of our disagreements with their strategy goes, the party at least has ballot access in enough states to win the Electoral College, I think 40 plus states. And they just have a much more broad and serious infrastructure with a lot more volunteers and state and local chapters, et cetera, et cetera. So, this is obviously the preferred route. And seemingly Dr. West took the advice of many of the critics of the People's Party and has declared that in the spirit of a broad unified front and coalition strategy, I am pursuing the nomination of the Green Party for president of the United States. And then links to his website, cornelwest24.com, for more information to continue to support this unprecedented effort to empower precious poor and working people here and abroad. I thank the volunteers of the People's Party for the initial launch. So before we get into a couple of clips of Dr. West and some interviews where he talks more about this, Zach, did you have any initial reactions to this? Were you surprised? Were you shocked?
I think my initial reaction was a little bit of an exhale, like, oh, all right, somebody woke this guy up. Somebody reached him, thank God that we don't have to watch this go on any further. Ever since you sent me the screenshot of Nick Brenna and Cornel West, seemingly blurry in the woods, like they were on a hunt for Sasquatch or something. I was like, oh God, what are we in for? This is not good. This is a great man. You can't, do this to him, Nick Brenna. He came to his senses. He realized that he has far more power and far more reach. And I think he was probably wildly misled about the People's Party. Still got to say it in the back of my mind. Again, you don't want to kickstart your presidential campaign for something of the president, the head of the entire U.S. operation. It started off with basically what you would consider a lapse in judgment, a bit of an, a misstep for sure. Not looking into this, I think, is the best case scenario where it was he truly didn't know the extent to which this was all, fraudulent. But I think that's something that you do before you launch your president with a party or your presidential candidacy with a party. You know what I mean? But I think it was something that he was secondary to, other than the fact that he wanted to, raise his concerns. And I think it honestly kind of gives away a little bit of okay, he's kind of running at this, not so that he, as somebody who thinks he can win, but somebody that wants to challenge Joe Biden, from the left and wants to drag and maneuver it over. But to your point about him being, positioned well to, get over 5% for the Green Party. I mean, you have to think about it. This guy, he's an icon, a cultural icon, a real academic figure, a public intellectual, a dude that is well known. And he has solid lefty credentials. So I think it has to be said that, he could be a real contender. And if he secures the Green Party's nomination, then I think that there's a real chance that he gets to, 5%.
Absolutely. And the Green Party U.S. official Twitter account did respond to his announcement, saying that the Green Party welcomes Dr. Cornel West as a candidate seeking the party's nomination for president. Dr. West is an important voice for social and economic justice in line with our party's platform. We look forward to him participating in the nomination process. And of course, they of course they welcome him to their party, because let's be honest, the Green Party needs a good candidate. The Green Party needs a candidate with some name recognition, with some actual clout, like Dr. Cornel West. So I think this is super, super important. And it's good to see that they're warmly welcoming him into the nominating process, a process which I certainly think he will prevail in. I don't think there's much doubt at all that Dr. Cornel West will win the Green Party nomination. I can't think of anyone that could even come close to really, challenging him or threatening him as far as this nomination goes in a serious way. Are you on the same page as me as far as that goes, Zach?
Yeah, it would be shocking to me. It would have to become a much more competitive Green Party than primary than we've absolutely ever seen before. I mean, this is a primary that was won by Howie Hawkins, the last time around. So yes, I would be absolutely dumbfounded if somebody, was able to come and, swipe it from Cornel West. But, that being said, I just wanted to leave it open that he is, competing in a primary. There is the opportunity for somebody else to, beat him.
Absolutely. So we'll have to see how that goes. Obviously, we'll cover the Green Party primary. If they do any debates, we'll make sure to cover those. But like I said, I have a hard time believing that anyone's actually going to be able to take this nomination from Cornel West, given how desperate the Green Party is for a serious candidate, one that could actually threaten the duopoly in a real way, the likes of which, guys like Howie Hawkins just weren't able to, perform. And it's a uniquely good election cycle for this sort of a challenge for a guy like Cornel West with some real clout to step up to the plate, because we're probably going to have Joe Biden and Donald Trump as our options again come 2024. Let's be honest. It's going to be a really, really bad decision for Americans. Once again, people hate Joe Biden. Even Democrats want him gone. And people hate Donald Trump. So I think it's going to be a uniquely easy election for people to decide to pull that lever for a third party, especially with someone like Dr. West leading the ticket. I mean, that's just such a great alternative to Joe Biden and Donald Trump 2.0.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's great about this, I know there's going to be a lot of questions that come up about like, oh, how do you guys square like supporting Cornel West and his run for the Green Party with also supporting Marianne Williamson and her run in the Democratic Party. And that's what's great about this process, is that we're so used to being like beaten over the head in this country with the fact that you can only support one person, that you have to cheer for one team specifically, and that like you're somehow like a traitor or like, unserious about politics if you're like open-minded about multiple candidates. And in this particular instance, you're not even defeating yourself at all. Just expanding the message of the leftism that gets out to the public. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know. It's almost like having your cake and eating it too. Like obviously it would be almost impossible for Marianne Williamson to get through the Democratic primary, right? Like they're just not going to happen. Let it happen. They're going to rig it, etc. But I think it's still good to have her, keeping the focus on, the fact that Joe Biden should participate in a debate. He should also debate RFKJ, look at the polling, right? Like, I think it's important to have somebody running and pushing, even if we know that the DNC isn't going to, ever allow either of those candidates to become the nominee for the Democratic Party. And in the complete other end of the spectrum, perhaps Marianne will also run as an independent, or she will decide to do something along the lines of the dirty break, which we've asked her about because she feels like she's been cheated through the Democratic primary process. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I think that there's an outcome where Marianne Williamson and Cornel West both run for president on the general election ballot. And Cornel West still gets to 5% or more for the Green Party. Marianne Williamson is able to spread her message, and we keep reaching more and more people and remind them that the progressive movement isn't dead, but it's, wide awake.
Absolutely correct. But yeah, let's take a look at Cornel West, Dr. Cornel West, on the Katie Halper show yesterday, where he talked a little bit more about his plan to run for the Green Party nomination. Let's take a look about what he had to say.
I wanted to ask you, of course, about your presidential run. And there's some exciting news, I believe. So last week, Chris Hedges, friend of the show, Chris Hedges, said during an event for Workers Strike Back, which was organized by Kshama Sawant, he said that he wanted you to run as a Green Party candidate. And you, of course, when you announced you were with the Movement for the People's Party, the MPP. Do you have an update about this?
Oh, yes. No, that process is very much in movement, and I look forward to it. I'll always have gratitude for the tremendous work of the volunteers of the People's Party and so forth. But there was so much going on internally, and therefore we had to be able to keep the focus where it belongs. And so I am still deeply committed to a broad coalitional sensibility and a united front. And so I invite variety of different organizations, and that includes the People's Party. But I'm certainly moving in the not just toward, but want to look forward to being a part of the nomination process of the Green Party. And I look forward to being able to already be in very rich conversation with my dear brother Barack and my dear sister Stein, sister Jill, and brother Ajamu, who I have great love and respect for. So that's true. That is new, and which means when it comes to infrastructure and institution, it's much broader and deeper. Access to the ballot, much broader. But in the end, as you know, any candidacy to run the empire in order to dismantle the empire has to be part of a movement.
Well, I think my first response to that has to be, he doesn't really talk at all about why he initially decided to run with the Movement for a People's Party, or why he decided to leave the Movement for a People's Party, other than the fact that he recognized all the things that people like us had been saying for so long, that there was no infrastructure. Why would you do this when the Green Party is right there, right? Why would you participate in this sham joke of a party that was basically just, conceived of as a way of skimming money off of desperate people who watch a lot of YouTube news, right? I mean, that's essentially what the Movement for a People's Party was. And Cornel West realized that too, right? And now he has to kind of walk it all back. So that was the first thing that stood out to me. As again, it's just like, how did you not already know that? How did you not already know that? Who duped you so bad that you forgot what you knew about the Green Party? Because I know for a fact that he did know that.
Yeah, he's talked a little bit about it in some interviews. From what I can tell, basically MPP reached out to him. Nick Brana called him up and offered him the nomination, and he said yes. He probably realized shortly thereafter that just because of the infrastructure limitations that the People's Party had, he wasn't going to be able to run this campaign in a serious way, in a way in which success would actually be possible end result. And at that point he was just like, if I'm actually going to run for president, I might as well actually run to win, and not just for the sake of legitimizing this stupid third party that has absolutely nothing accomplished. And at that point, he decided to switch over to the Greens. That's, from what I can tell, what happened. Apparently, he was on Black Power Media today and talked a little bit more about it. So feel free to let us know in chat, Lynn, what he said specifically on Black Power Media. I haven't had a chance to watch that interview myself. All right, it looks like Lynn says that he said he worked with the initial organizers, so that's why he went with the People's Party once he kept getting asked about the party rather than his positions. He had to drop it. And that's exactly what I predicted from day one. I was going to say, not only is this stupid of Cornel West to run with the People's Party because of the fact that Nick Brana is a grifter and an alleged, scumbag, but also this is going to become a thorn in his side. Every time he's doing an interview, he's going to have to answer for the alleged crimes of Nick Brana and the People's Party, rather than just being able to talk about his ideology and his vision for this country. And it seems like that's exactly what happened. He couldn't escape this. He kept having to answer for the crimes of the People's Party and of its founder, and ultimately just decided that was too distracting. And then you add on top of that the lack of ballot access and infrastructure, and I think the decision was pretty obvious. Now you might be wondering, how are the People's Party folks reacting to this? I'm sure they're reacting very positively, right? Because ultimately what they care about is the strong third party movement, and they want a third party candidate like Cornel West to have ballot access in every state. Of course, if they want him to win, they would want that too, right? Well, not quite. In fact, the People's Party has been molding pretty visibly on Twitter, which is actually hilarious. Here's Dave Mizell. He's the national secretary of the People's Party, and this guy has been fucking melting down. Here he responds to this Katie Halper clip saying, "Cornel, you hurt me. You disrespected me, my team, my family, and my party. I feel used, abused, and so does my entire team." Again, this isn't just some random guy. This is the national secretary of the People's Party. He says
that looks like a real win.
Yeah. He says the hurt, betrayal, and deceitfulness of your actions speak louder than your words. I thought you were better than that. I was wrong. Ooh, so it sounds like they're not taking it super well over at the People's Party crew. And some people are saying like, oh, you guys are overstating this. He's still operating with MPP. This was someone who was like pushing back on our framing and the title of him ditching the MPP. But if that's inaccurate framing, then why are people within the movement for a People's Party, why are they melting down like this? Why are they acting like they were used and abused and disrespected? And also, bro, it's not about you, Dave. Say, Cornel, you hurt me. No one cares, man. This is about the third party movement, and this is about the policies that Dr. West is running on. Whichever party he decides to go about this is merely a vessel for those ideas and for his challenge to the duopoly. And if the Green Party is a better vessel, if the Green Party is going to be a vessel which gives him a better opportunity to actually be successful, then obviously that's in his best interest to run with the Green Party. It's not about your team, your family, and your party, Dave. It's about all of us. It's about this country who Cornel West is running to be the president of. It's not about you and your little shitty band of grifters and Nick Brana. It's about the policies, and it's about the third party movement. So here's example number one of the People's Party just absolutely molding with Dr. West switching over to the Green Party. What's your reaction to this, Zac?
Oh, yeah. I mean, completely unsurprising, right? Obviously, people in glass houses, again, you could say shouldn't throw stones. Like what happened to all of the volunteers that tried to be a part of what the initial People's Party had been, conceived of as a horizontal management structure of like, a true, renegade activists knocking on doors, getting ballot access, moving everybody who'd been disaffected by the Bernie era into an actual cohesive and, constructive movement. The People's Party relentlessly smeared those people, called them ops, like pretended that they were just like, weird members of like our revolution that were pissed off that the People's Party was taking their thunder, like all kinds of weird smears. They alluded to the fact that like big money was behind those smears, all stuff they had absolutely no evidence for. So this dude can cry me a fucking river. It's all like, who cares?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Here's another example of the People's Party just like publicly molding about this. This one is the funniest in my opinion. This was posted to their Instagram this morning. Get a load of this, guys. Breaking. Cornel West has announced a switch to the Green Party, folding to social media and family pressure.
Folding to his family, LOL.
Exactly. He cowered to the woke mob. The excitement over the phenomenal launch executed by the People's Party on our invitation to carry him as a candidate will likely dissipate as a result of the flip-flop. The 6-year relationship PP had with West led to the invitation to run as our candidate. West had to consider the other political influences of his family after he agreed to run with PP, resulting in a change of mind. So there's a lot wrong with this, obviously. For one, way to just blatantly disrespect the great Dr. Cornel West, saying that, he didn't just make this decision on his own out of his own best interest. No, he folded to social media and family pressure, like as if he's just some fucking marionette that social media can bully into changing his party affiliation. Bullshit. He became aware of the issues with the People's Party and adjusted his strategy accordingly, which I think shows a lot of maturity, especially for someone of his stature, someone of his age and prominence. Then they go on to say, the excitement over the phenomenal launch executed by the People's Party on our invitation to carry him as a candidate will likely dissipate as a result of the flip-flop. I've seen the exact opposite manifesting all over the online spheres in which people are already excited about this. Everyone that I've seen, other than just the most, the dumbest motherfuckers out there, but like 99% of all the reactions I've seen are like, thank God, this is great. Thanks for taking the feedback, Cornel. Thanks for adjusting. This is really great that you've switched courses. Now this is serious. Now I'm excited to vote for you because you'll actually be on the ballot. I've seen nothing but universal excitement and praise about this decision. If anything, it's the exact opposite than the excitement dissipating as a result of this flip-flop. And also, it's not a flip-flop. He just changed which party he's going to run in. It's not like he's flip-flopping on some policy position. It's not like he stopped supporting Medicare for all or anything like that. It's literally just him choosing a vessel for this run, which will make him a more viable candidate overall.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, I do think that you could, I mean, from my perspective, not from their perspective, I could see why you would call into, question his judgment a little bit because of how god awful the People's Party is. I mean, look at this kind of behavior that happens right here. His other, they basically just try and portray him as a sellout, like the political influences of his family. Like, no, dude, this guy realized that you were a complete sham operation, a total joke, and there was no reason to move forward. And what he wanted more than anything was a platform free of corporate influence that would be willing to, let him get his message out. He thought he found that in the People's Party when he realized he had not, after everyone, ourselves included, just said, dude, what the fuck? He listened and he said, you know what? This is a distraction. This is not what I was hoping would happen from running with the People's Party. I'm going to enter the Green Party primary, which is about the best thing that we could have hoped would happen after this. So excited to see Dr. West participate in the Green Party primary, and excited to see the People's Party eat another fat, juicy L.
Yeah, this is such a glorious outcome, in my opinion. They are mauling hard. Here's one more that I thought was pretty funny, that the People's Party official Twitter account quote tweeted and shared a little bit of editorializing of their own. This one's pretty funny. So this guy's like a huge People's Party Jimmy Dore simp. This is actually in a thread that we started. He replies and says, just like without Nick Brana, the biggest anti-war protest in years wouldn't have happened. And now, if it weren't for Brana showing the initiative to get Cornel West to run, he likely wouldn't even be running for president. Who is the guy I'm told to hate, the one doing the most? So this is, again, some simp defending Nick Brana in the replies of a Vanguard tweet. Nick Brana actually quote tweeted that, or rather the People's Party account, which is run by Nick Brana. They quote tweet that and say, quote unquote, the man the system doesn't want to see succeed this bad is the man that needs to succeed. And of course, talking about himself, not Cornel West. That's the ironic part. He's not talking about fucking Cornel West here. He's talking about himself. He is the main character in from his perspective. This is all about him. It's not about Cornel West's, chance of succeeding or, getting the Green Party to 5%, strengthening the third party movement. No, it's all about Nick Brana, and it's all about his shitty little fake fucking party that Cornel West luckily wisened up to and threw in the trash.
Yep, 100%. It's so embarrassing. Honestly, it's cringy as all hell. It's hard to wonder what's more embarrassing, this kind of pathetic behavior, right? Or the fact that Cornel West kind of initially fell for it, right? Like, we have to talk about that. Like, I'm sorry that, we all want to just be excited. And after today, for the most part, we will. But today on this stream, we have to talk about how that was a sputter at the launch. He did heed our advice. What did we say? That this was a horrible campaign launch, that they completely squandered any of the buzz and any of the media coverage that could have been garnered if they'd planned better and approached mainstream media to get everybody really talking about it, get it trending. That this kind of incompetence shows that he needs to scrap his campaign manager. And if he has anybody that's fulfilling the role of the, secretary of the press secretary, whatever, gotta fire them too. Okay. Got to make sure you get somebody in there that's competent, that knows what they're doing. And that's the one thing, that'll be the one thing this is going to be the best candidate that the Green Party has probably had since Ralph Nader, as far as name recognition and clout, for sure. So what they have to do is this is their opportunity to demonstrate that they are the third party that can put together a machine, that can put together an operation, that can, get volunteers, knock doors, really put up that fight to get to 5%, because if it doesn't happen with Dr. West, I don't know who it will happen with.
Yeah, this is going to be a real moment for the Green Party to prove themselves, I think, because obviously the Green Party has been around for like 20 years now. Outside of the Ralph Nader campaign, they've never really succeeded in making a splash in the way that they should be able to, or in the way that at least I want them to be able to. If they can't make Cornel West 2024 a real thing that at least gets to 5%, then that will be a serious moment of reckoning, because it's like, if you can't do it with Cornel West, then who could you possibly do it with? I mean, I don't think anyone bigger with more clout and more name recognition than Cornel West is going to step up to the plate after the fact. So if they're not able to make him a thing, then at that point, we probably would need to start thinking about building a new third party. But as of now, the Green Party is without a doubt the most serious lefty third party. It has the most ballot access of any third party other than the Libertarians. They have actual local chapters, volunteers, and organization. And hopefully, with a candidate as inspiring as Dr. Cornel West, they will be able to bring in more volunteers, bring in more interest in the same way that the DSA kind of blew up as a result of the Bernie campaign. They can hopefully turn the Cornel West campaign into a big thing for the Green Party and get a lot of volunteers, get a lot of people involved and interested. Either way, before we talk a little bit more about some of the reactions, I wanted to play this video as well. This was on Tim Black's show, where Cornel West once again talks a bit about running in the Green Party. So I want to take a listen to this as well.
Let me just say something about the People's Party as it relates to the future. Actually making a move for the nomination for the Green Party presidential process. I appreciate the People's Party coming to me, but at the same time, there's also no doubt as well that there's a whole host of things about the People's Party that is a distraction. I ain't got time for it. I'm focusing on the people. I'm focusing on resistance. I'm focusing on the suffering. I'm focusing on how we move forward.
Dr. West, if donations are made to your campaign today, where do they go?
They go straight to the campaign.
Yeah.
Straight to the campaign under the auspices of the Green Party.
Y'all hear that? I'll make sure people hear that.
Yeah, so I think he makes it pretty clear there that he wasn't down to keep answering for the alleged crimes of the People's Party. He views it as a distraction. He's trying to focus this campaign on policy and his vision for the country, obviously, as any presidential candidate would want to. He wants to talk about what actually matters. He doesn't want to have to keep relitigating all this drama from the People's Party and defending potential criminals, literal sex offenders. That's not what he's here to do. And to be honest, Zach, while I do agree that his launch was botched and it was a lapse of judgment, I think this actually does show quite a lot of maturity on his part. He didn't double down. He didn't just, try to defend Nick Brana or anything like that. He quickly changed course and, in the process proved that he can be accountable to the grassroots and to independent media, and that he's actually listening to his constituency. And I think that's, a real sign of maturity, despite the fact that obviously I would never have let the People's Party launch happen in the first place. I think we have to give him the benefit of the doubt here and take yes for an answer.
No, 100%. I think that it does demonstrate his willingness to evolve, his willingness to, listen to activists and his constituents. And I think that that's valuable. I just think it also, you can't have one without the other, right? You have to make a mistake in order to show how you were willing to correct that mistake. So it's just like, oof, you know what? You did the best you could recovering from that mistake. But as far as the timeline goes, it was like, oof, why'd you do that? Oh, no, thank you for correcting that. And that's how his campaign started. So it's just like, that's the benchmark for where he's going to go from here. Shout out to Ben Dixon, another huge fan of the Vanguard.
Oh, you mean Tim Black?
Oh shit! I said, oh fuck me, dude. Yeah, that is bad. But yeah, that is Tim Black. LO.
They have similar politics, so I know what you're saying. Either way, I think that was a good answer on Dr. West's part. I think that he was able to, give a good reasoning and also assure people that don't worry, if you donate to my campaign, it's not going into fucking Nick Brana's pockets. It's not going into some grifty organization, which is basically just going to steal from you like they have time and time again. No, it's actually going into my campaign and specifically into my campaign with the Green Party. So I think he's making pretty clear here. He's trying to remain professional. He's trying to, remain civil and not just totally throw the People's Party under the bus. But I think if you really read into what he's saying here, he's kind of throwing some shade their way. He's kind of being like, bro, I did not sign up to fucking have to defend you everywhere I go. I did not sign up to have to answer for your potential fucking crimes, your alleged crimes. It's not something I want to be involved with. And I say, all the respect to him for that. Obviously, he was not aware of a lot of this stuff before campaigning or before announcing his campaign. I kind of doubt that he even was planning on running until he got that call from the People's Party and then quickly realized what the hell he'd gotten himself into. And, to his credit, changed course in a very timely manner, which, like I said, I have to respect. But yeah, there we go. Dr. West, once again, clearing up what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, at this point, we just have to move forward and be like, this is going to be a net benefit. Seeing Cornel West participate in the Green Party primary, this is exactly what we needed to see in the age of, the Biden-Trump 2 pay-per-view that nobody wants to buy.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you agree, Zach, that this is a uniquely ideal election for a third party candidate to really make a splash?
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean. Because everybody's so fed up with Joe Biden and Donald Trump. It's like we were already fed up with Joe Biden, and now pretty much everybody is over the Trump show, unless you're just like a deranged sycophant. Like, I know he has control over the Republican Party and he will get the nomination, but I just feel like the regular person, like, they're tired of hearing about it. And part of what made him Trump in 2016 was the fact that, like, all eyes were on him. And now it's just like a collective groan. Like, neither of us even really wanted to talk about his fucking hearing in Miami. It's just like, whatever, put him in jail or don't. Like, we're all so tired of hearing about that stupid son of a bitch that, like, moving on.